report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. You got Craig and TK and Heather D. Tune in at the fish report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Fish Report Live. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Craig Fissinger. That is Ken Francis. We're your host. Back in our sound room this morning, you know who it is. It's TK and Heavy D. We'll talk to them a little bit later in the program. And out in Studio R, of course, it's Covey and Kearns. Always excited to talk to them. And Ken, happy 2019.
Yes, it is, Craig. Happy New Year to all of our listeners out there. Thanks for joining us early on a Thursday morning, Craig. We've got a fun show for you to top off 2019, Craig. And we're going to talk to the dean of all coaches in the area of girls basketball, and that's none other than Carla Siegel from the Fort Loramie girls basketball program. Craig, she took the Redskins last year to the regional finals. She's got a terrific team once again this year. She's working on 400 career victories at the school. She's already won a couple state championships, been highly successful. Really looking forward to talking to Coach Siegel here in just a few minutes to open our year this year on the show.
Yeah, it's been a while since we talked to her. Actually, you have to go all the way back to 2016, so
Wow.
3 years ago. And I looked back, Ken, I had to go back and check the archives out. That episode, you weren't there. We actually had Brad Turner, the golf coach, and the softball coach over at Loramie. Now, we did interview her, I think, the year before you were there, but it's been a while, so I know you're looking forward to it.
Well, she's a good interview, Craig. I always enjoy talking to her. She's a wealth of information and, like I said, highly successful, and we're going to hear all about her Lady Redskin team here in just a little bit.
All right, well, listen, we took last week off. We took a little holiday break, so I want to catch up on those SCAL boys standings, starting to take shape here a little bit, Ken. So let's take a look at the boys standings and let's see what we have.
Well, Craig, like you said, Anna starting to take a little bit of grasp of the league standings there, Craig. They're sitting at 5-0. Jackson Center just a game back at 4-1, Craig. Russia, they're sitting at just 2-1. They've only played 3 league games. Of course, they've had 2 canceled, one with Fort Loramie and one with Anna, Craig. So the Raiders will be playing a little catch-up here over the next few weeks, and then the league will really start to take shape. But interesting, Craig, Russia and Anna will play twice, and not till very late in the season before those teams finally square off against each other. And Russia Loramie with a big game coming up here in about 10 days. So, and then you got a rematch with Jackson Center as well. So, but you're right, Anna at 5-0. The league is very balanced. We talked about it earlier in the year. It's a tough league this year. Even Houston's sitting at 0-5, Craig. Bakken's at 1-4. They've given some really good teams some really good tests this year, and I anticipate the second half of the season, Craig, to be very similar. And look for some of them teams at the bottom of the standings to actually get better and make things look even a little more balanced than what they were in the first half.
Okay, well, I want to ask you about a couple of the matchups coming up this Friday, and the first one I want to talk about is that Bakken's game at Fort Loramie, a game that our own Covey is calling for NK Telco. And Loramie, a team that is about as hot and cool as you can get. They're 3-3, and I'm looking at their schedule here, and they've got a win, a loss, a win, a loss, a win, and a loss. In 3 of those games, they scored in the 30s. But last week, the game against Anna, a game that they lost, might have been their best game. It's 59-51 decision. What do you expect between Loramie and Bakken's this Friday?
Well, Craig, I think something's got to give this Friday night. Loramie comes in playing a very high tense defensive game. They try to hold the game in the 40s. They'll even keep the game in the 30s if they have to, if that's what it takes to win. Bakken's, on the other hand, Craig, I've seen them play. They want to run and gun it. They want to get the game up into the 60s and the 70s. So something's got to give. I look for that to be a very good basketball game. A lot of people might think of this as being Fort Loramie at Fort Loramie being a heavy favorite. I'm not totally unsold on the Bakken's Trojans yet. I've said I think they can rattle off some big wins here. Fort Loramie's got a nice team as well, but I think Bakken's is a very dangerous team, Craig. And I look for a game of contrasting styles there. So we'll see what happens.
All right, and one other game I want to talk about, of course, is our Russia Raiders going over to Houston, and Houston doesn't have a real impressive record at just 2-7, but when you look at their schedule, their first 5 games, all losses, is about as tough a schedule as you could ask for. Minster, Jackson Center, Franklin Monroe, Fort Loramie, and Anna. That's tough.
That is tough, Craig. I saw him play Fort Loramie. It was opening night for the Redskins, and Loramie actually played pretty well considering they were just coming off a very long football season. And Houston played well. And, but like you said, they've had a really tough schedule. They're sitting just at 2-7 there, but not an easy game for Russia going over to Houston to play. Coach Borchers, I'm sure he'll have his troops ready to play hard, and they're going to have to take care of the Wildcats.
Yeah, Houston does have a good win over a decent Ansonia team, and then Fairlawn got beat by them last week, but that was on a buzzer beater. Mm-hmm. So, I'm expecting a good game as well. Well, let's keep things moving and talk some girls basketball now. For that, we're going to go out to Studio R, check in with Covey and Kearns. And guys, Happy New Year. And Covey, I believe this is what you call your second third of the season?
Yeah, it is what I call my second third of the season. That until probably the week after of Martin Luther King. Then you go into your final third of the season, so to speak, until tournament draw and so on. And we got a lot of great games coming up here. The standings are really starting to unravel here. We're starting to get to about the second round of the double round robin with Shelby County Athletic League play. The MAC's taking a bit of shape, and so is the CCC. You got Versailles and Minster still up there like usual. Fort Recovery as well, and the same with Covington, Tri-Village, and Anna and Loramie up in the Shelby County Athletic League. So really no surprises so far this year. I'd really say we're still keeping at where most people, us experts so to speak, were thinking of where it'd be at the beginning of the season. And we're gonna have Carla Siegel on here in a few minutes, but we know that she's got a big game with Anna this Saturday, and Anna just came off that big win against Versailles on a buzzer beater by Ella Dosek. So it should be a very good game to decide who takes control of this league standing.
Yeah, Anna's been really high. They played a great game against Rucci on the road. I really didn't see them coming in. Ella Dosek, just a sophomore, had 30. She was out there playing with emotion right on her sleeve. She was getting all her teammates excited. As a sophomore, she looked like a senior out there. She was playing phenomenal. And Fort Loramie is going to really look to shut her down. I think the key for Anna, if they want to win this game, Loramie's traveling there, and the launch pad is what everybody's calling it now. It's pretty loud, and for this kind of game, it'd be huge for Anna to seal when against a really powerful Loramie team. So Anna's just got to slow it down and keep it within their kind of play style and not let Loramie get breakouts in their really nice press that they have. And I think Anna could maybe get this one away from Loramie.
Hey, Kearns, let me ask you one question, Kobe, before you go ahead. The game's actually tonight. But do you think Ronnie Rocket will be there? He's typically just at the boys' games, but do you think he'll show up on a girls' game in uniform guarding the corner?
He just might. I think he'll probably show an appearance. This big of a game, he shows up to almost all the boys' games. I don't know if they gave him the night off, but they might pay a little extra for him to get in and rally the troops over there. The launch pad's pretty dangerous, and with him, it gets pretty loud in that corner. He even sometimes plays defense if you get in the corner there too much.
Yeah, and I'm just going to take off what Daniel said a little bit here. Loramie will use their depth to their advantage. Carla Siegel's really put on a press. When I called a game when Loramie played New Bremen went up early, and Loramie kind of released the hound, so to speak, went up and put on a full court pressure and really rattled New Bremen, and they ended up beating New Bremen handily by 30 or so. So we'll see if Coach Siegel will use that depth or test. For Shelby County fans out there, look at Ava Schultz. She's a freshman. She's an impact player. She will be well known here on the volleyball court and the basketball court for years to come. She's been playing off the bench behind that veteran presence, so to speak, that Carla Siegel has. But look at her, Dana Rose, other than just the other typical people you think of when you think of Loramie, Marissa Meyering, Taylor Rodman, Kennedy Gephardt. Think of those two. Those will be keys to the game. If Anna can work the ball on the sidelines, if they can have real good guard play, that will be one big key thing for them to win. If they can work up the ball against the press and be able to take care of the ball, they have a shot in this ball game, but they are an underdog.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. They gotta take control of the ball and limit their turnovers. If you let Loramie rattle them, especially with that the depth that they have with that press that they can throw on and be really dangerous and just get easy bucket after easy bucket. Like you said, they blew a pretty good New Bremen team out by 30 just with the releasing the hounds and letting that depth just go to work. If they can move the ball, have really good shot takes each offensive possession and limit their turnovers, I think it'll be really beneficial for Anna and maybe steal one.
Yeah, and another game in the Shelby County Athletic League that'll be good, Fairlawn versus Jackson. I don't know the last time Fairlawn's beaten Jackson Center in girls basketball, but Curtis and I were talking before this. We both expect the Jets to take this game for the first time in a while.
Yeah, just Jackson Center's just been down this year. I think they're still there's a battle. I think they're looking for their second SCAL win. I believe they got one earlier in the season against Bakken. So it'll be a really nice win if Fairlawn can go over to Jackson. Probably be the first time Fairlawn won there in probably a long time.
Yeah, and also with the MAC, rounded out with a couple holiday tournaments. Minster won their Bath holiday tournament. When Craig and I were there Friday, and all you guys too were there. They were announcing the scores. So Minster's 10-0 on the season, ranked number 1 in those early meaningless polls, you'd so to speak. Versailles is 3-0. The conference lost to Anna on that buzzer beater by Ella Dosek. Versailles, from what I've been hearing, has been struggling to score the ball a little bit, but I think Versailles will still be a favorite come Division III tournament time. And also Marion Local, they're sitting at 5-4. I forget where they played at, but they won their holiday tournament. I read over the winter. I think they had one with Coldwater and Salina and St. Henry, so to speak. I think it was the same format as the guys' tournament, I do believe. But I read where they won their holiday tournament. So the MAC still got a lot of depth. And I'm surprised to see Fort Recovery sitting at 4-4. I don't think that really tells the true talent of their team. I think they're going to be a top contender, especially in that Northwest region come tournament time. And New Bremen as well, sitting at 8-2. I was there for their game Saturday against Lehman. They ran the floor very well. I know Coach Burden pretty well. He always tells me that he loves to run the floor and get his guards out to play. And that's what they did against Lehman. And that's what they're going to be doing all year is they love to get out and run. Yeah,
the Marion Local team of Fort Recovery team, although sitting at 500 and just over 500, they're still pretty great teams. And come tournament time, I think they can really throw something, give somebody a run for their money. Although they're sitting at the bottom of the MAC's really a well-respected girls conference, especially in the regular season. And also with Minster, they've been dominant here. And if they can really make the turn here, like you said, in the second third of the season and get a big win over Versailles. I think Versailles is probably going to be their best game to decide who will win the league. But if they can win that one, the MAC will be theirs for – I think they shared it last year. Or did Versailles – I think Versailles got it last year. Tigers took it. So it'll be their first one here and maybe continue a long streak, especially with Janae Hoying and Ivy Wolf. Those are two young, really amazing athletes that Coach Wiss has over there.
And
so touch on the CCC too, guys. We got just a couple minutes here, and what do you got for the CCC?
Just not too much happened over the holidays for the CCC. I believe Frank Monroe was in their Jet Holiday Tournament, and Sammy Whiteman actually went second all time on the Covington scoring list. So congratulations to her. We obviously had her on a couple weeks ago, playing at Trevika Nazarene all the way down in Nashville, Tennessee. So that's pretty awesome to hear for Coach Meyer's team, and they're sitting at 10-1 on a collision course with Tri-Village, I believe. But Tri-Village, obviously, we said this tons of times. They're the team to beat. Everyone knows all their players' names. We don't have to repeat it. We know who Tri-Village is.
As you look at the first four teams, it's 5-0, 5-0, 5-1, 4-1, 4-2. It's a well balanced top part of the division, I guess. But it's obviously, no matter what, it's determined between Tri-Village and Covington. Those are the two best teams. So watch for when they'll play, and if you can get out and go watch them, it'll be a really well game.
Yeah, that should be a fun one, guys. And thanks for that. Good stuff as always. Ken, let's take a short break, but I tell you what, stay right there because we're going to talk some more girls basketball, including that big interview with Fort Loramie coach Carla Siegel.
My father said it's time to be home man, but don't go and talk in the motherland. If you were born with heart, raised on pride, this is gonna go wrong through your bloodline.
And welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. Before the break, we were talking some girls basketball, including those standings in the Shelby County Athletic League. And that brings us to our next guest. She is in her 20th season as the head coach of the Fort Loramie girls basketball program. And in that time, get this, Ken, she's won 394 games. Also included in that is 11 league titles, 15 district titles, 6 regional titles, a state runner-up, and 2 state championships. Quite a resume. We welcome to the program now Carla Siegel. Coach, thanks for joining us on Fish Report Live.
Thank you, Craig. That was a very nice introduction. I appreciate that.
It's been a little while since we talked to you. I mentioned it at the top of the show, but it's actually been 3 seasons ago, all the way back in 2016. So it's good to have you back on the program again. And, Coach, you might get a kick out of this, but I'm reading a book right now, and in this book, it's talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger, okay? And listen, it's talking about all the success he's had in his life and how he's attributed that to having a vision and having a goal. And in preparing for this interview, it got me thinking about you and all the success you've had on the basketball court. And I wanted to ask you, do you have any kind of vision or any kind of goal when you start each season?
Absolutely. I mean, when we meet at the beginning of the year as a coaching staff, we talk about what we want to do for the season as far as, offense and defense. And then we also, what can we do to get our girls to be the best that they can be? We make our girls have goals for the season. They have to write them down, individual goals and team goals. And I think anybody that wants to be successful in any part of their life has to have goals and have a vision. And I would just say overall, mine is I want it to be a fun season for the girls. I want the girls to reach their potential. I want them to be great people, great athletes, and so it changes every year. There's not just a set one. No, every year, based on the team that you have, it's a puzzle that you're trying to put together, and so your vision for that particular team is going to be different every year.
All right. Well, so you actually have something in common with Arnold Schwarzenegger, then, I guess, is the point there.
Well, good.
Yeah.
That's a great comparison. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm looking at your schedule, Coach, and I noticed a couple of I call them fun away games here. It's something that I don't think you did last year, but you opened the season going down to Lakota West and playing Proctorville Fairland in this Journey to the Tourney event. And then last Friday you played Sugar Creek Garraway over at Ohio Dominican. What prompted adding these 2 games to your schedule? They sound like fun.
Yeah, they were. The first one, the Journey to the Tourney, the guys that run that tournament are the same people that run the Classic in the Country over in Berlin. And we were invited to participate there in, next January 2020. But they also they threw a little clause in there that the only way that I could accept that is if I accepted to do the Journey to the Tourney this year. And so I met with our administration, our athletic director. We looked at our schedule to see, who we could drop from our schedule to make this work. And I'm glad that we did it. It's the first time that we played in the Journey to the Tourney. It was a good experience for our girls. It's fun to play an unknown team. It's fun to play on a different court. And so it was a great experience for us. And then this last week at Ohio Dominican, we were supposed to play Mansfield Christian. The coach there was trying to get, it was called a holiday showcase, and we were supposed to play on Saturday between Christmas and New Year's. It was his 3rd annual one. And he does it in remembrance of Wayne Roller, who was a great referee for a long time and passed away recently. And so I was like, yeah, sure, we'll come and play there. Well, he got non-renewed by the school last April, and we left us in a bind. We needed a 22nd game, and so I just called Garraway because that's the team we were supposed to play at Mansfield Christian, and he was looking for a 22nd game too. And we've had some former players play at ODU, and it was kind of like a halfway point because to drive in a bus from Loramie to Garraway was going to be probably 3.5 hours, and neither one of us were interested in that. And so ODU did a great job. Can't say enough about their coaches there that helped us pull that off and let us play it at their site. So it was a great experience for us as well.
Coach, good morning. Ken Francis here. I appreciate you joining us on our show this morning. I start off a lot of my interviews with talking about seniors and letting the coaches talk about their seniors and senior leadership. So I'm going to do something a little different this morning. I'm going to talk about all your seniors because I know a lot about them. So here it goes. Okay, I'm done talking about them. Well, you have no seniors. So
Correct.
You're led by a solid trio of juniors. Let's talk a little bit about Marissa Meyering, Kennedy Gephardt, and Taylor Ratterman.
Yeah, that's a fantastic trio. All 3 of those girls have been playing with me since their freshman year. So when you look at it that way, I mean, they're 3-year. By the end of this year, there'll be 3-year varsity letter winners for us. So they're really, they're not just juniors. They're very capable young women to lead our program, and it's been hard for them because they weren't ready for it at the beginning of the year. We threw them into the fire, and I think they've adapted really well. They're phenomenal leaders, and you always read where people say if your leaders are your hardest workers, you got a good thing going there. And the work ethic of these 3 young ladies is just phenomenal in practice. They're the first ones sprinting across the line. They're the first ones grabbing the ball and doing this and whatever else. And they're comfortable in their roles. Not one of them want to be the star of the team. They just want to help the team be the best that they can be. And that means that they include all of these younger girls. We've got some really talented sophomores. We brought up a talented freshman, the last 3 weeks, and they just accept them and make them part of our team. These girls, they go out to eat, once every 2 weeks or whatever, just to keep that team chemistry and that bonding. And that's all on them. I don't make them do any of that stuff. So they're not seniors, but they are great senior leaders for our team this year.
Coach, I've been pretty high on your Lady Redskins all year, even going back before the season started. We had a little sports basketball preview, and I told the guys here in the studio how strong I thought your team was going to be this year. And, I've just I got some connections with the Lady Redskins over there, a few of your younger players, and you've lived up to the hype. You're 10-1, I think. You're averaging about 60 points a game, which is phenomenal. Are you pushing the up tempo this year? Is it a different style that you're coaching? I know you're always going to bring the defense and the pressure, but the offensive average seems to be very high this year.
It is. Thank you. The last 2 years, because we've been so young, I've said in the paper that we've been offensively challenged the last few years. We just had a hard time getting the ball in the hole. And I think this year, because we've got these juniors that are 3-year varsity letter winners, and we got some sophomores that have varsity experience under their belt from last year, the offense is just clicking a little bit better this year. The up tempo, I think, has always been there. We weren't ready to handle it. And we put in a new offense last year, our motion offense, and it was brand new to them, and it was a very tough learning experience. But they've grasped it so much better now, and they're just doing such a better job. And one of the things that amazes me with this team, I talked earlier about how they don't care who the star is; they just want to win. And we've had probably 2 or 3 games where we've finished with like 20, 22 assists in a game, which is just out of this world. I mean, I don't know if we even had 20 assists, last year in 4 games put together. So they share the ball, and their passes are so much better. Their cuts are stronger. They read each other so much better, and that just helps our offense flow.
Earlier in our show tonight, Covey and Kearns talked quite a bit about your Lady Redskins and mentioned several times about unleashing the wolves on the other team, because it's like all of a sudden when you slap that press on it, it's lights out for that for the other team. And you got a big game tonight. You got the Anna Rockets. Sole possession of the Shelby County League is on the line. Tell us a little bit about that game. Tell us a little bit about the Lady Rockets, and at what point in the game are you going to unleash them?
Well, the Anna Rockets they have a very nice program going on there too. They beat the same people we beat. New Bremen, Versailles, New Knoxville. They lost the same team that we lost to. There's a lot of similarities between our teams. I think they like up tempo. Their guards, Disick is just quick, and Cook does a great job of shooting the ball. And we're going to struggle with containing the big girls inside, Roland and Ball Horse. But I think one of the strengths that we have is our bench. I can go 3-4 deep real easy, and I think once we get into that rotation of pushing the ball up and down the floor, and we're subbing, and we got fresh legs on the floor, that's definitely when you see the gears shift in our offense and our defense. So the girls are excited for tonight's game. We love these challenges, and hopefully we come out and we play, the same way we've been playing the last 3 weeks.
Coach, listen, one more question before we let you go. But not only do you and Arnold Schwarzenegger have something in common, but you and I have something in common. And I don't know if our viewers know this, but we're classmates. And
that is correct.
So we got this lifelong bond. And tonight this is our 242nd show tonight, and I know you've
congratulations. That is awesome.
You've got us beat though. You've coached in over 500 games. I think I've counted up. and I'm trying to catch you, and we're rattling off about 30-some shows a year, and it seems like you're coaching in about 30 basketball games a year. So I got to know if I keep chasing you here. I'm not gaining much here. Are you going to keep doing this, or how long do I need to go?
You're going to need to go for a little while there, Craig. I've heard this question the last 2 or 3 years. As you get closer to that 20-year mark, people are like, are you quitting soon? I don't know. I love it. I enjoy working with the girls still, and I'm passionate about the game. I just love being a part of it. I've got a wonderful coaching staff that makes it fun, and the girls work hard for me. And I think as long as I have a good relationship with the girls and I can get the most out of them, and I enjoy what I'm doing, I want to keep doing it. And so I don't have a timeline for when I'm going to quit. What I've heard from other coaches that have quit is that they say, you'll know when you know. And right now, it's not now. I'm loving it. I enjoy it. It's fun.
I guess we'll keep plugging away there.
Yeah, we got a long way to go, Craig. So, hey, Coach, listen, congratulations on all your success you've had over there at Fort Loramie, and best of luck to you the rest of the year. And also from Fish Report, I know it's going to come here within the next 2 or 3 weeks. Congratulations on win number 400. So I know you're going to get it, and I know you're not even looking at that, but we'll tell you right now, congratulations on win number 400.
Well, I appreciate all your kind words. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
All right, that was the coach of the Fort Loramie Redskins, Carla Siegel. And Ken, like I said, it's been a while for you since you talked to her.
It has been, and she's a great interview, Craig. She's a lot of fun to talk to. I see her outside of the gymnasium as well, quite every once in a while, and just a great lady and wealth of basketball knowledge, Craig. And she's got a great program over there.
All right, well, let's end things by going back to the sound room and checking in with TK and Heavy D. Guys, Happy New Year. I'm glad you're here after what I'm sure was a fun New Year's Eve for you.
Was one heck of a New Year's Eve, I think. Photos tell me, maybe even some video shows it as well. But yeah, we had a heck of a good time, and can't wait to do something like that again. That was a lot of fun.
Well, we don't want to get into all the details of New Year's Eve, but let's get into your SCAL Athlete of the Week. It's been a couple weeks. What do you got for us?
All right. Well, I'm going to stick with a theme that I used probably, I think it was the last show we had, because every kid that is into sports loves being outside and playing, and Mom calls them in for dinner, and they're like, just a second, I got the last shot to win the game, Mom. And you count down, and you heave that ball, and you hope it goes in. And just the other night, Austin Piper did that again, just like my last one for Houston with a shot at the end of the game to win it. So Ashton Piper from Fairlawn, with just under 2 seconds, tossed in the last 3 of his 16 points to lift Fairlawn over the Houston Wildcats to give them the victory. A thrill any kid wants to have, whether it's for the championship or just a great league night game that gives your team the win. So Ashton Piper gets the Star Athlete of the Week.
Good call on that one. That's absolutely. And it looked like maybe Heavy D, or I don't know if you're getting ready to toast the SCAL Star of the Week. What's going on there?
No, I got a good question here. And he writes, Dear Heavy, Happy New Year. Did you make any New Year's resolutions this year? And I absolutely did. I ate too much over Christmas break, and it's time to get serious about my health. And so walking a little bit more, start doing some push-ups in the morning, you can probably tell just by looking at my arms. But most importantly, I'm taking my vitamins, trying to eat right, and came up with something my wife found out. It's Bragg's Organic Raw Unfiltered Apple Cider Vinegar Unpasteurized with something called the Mother in it.
Wow, that's a lot.
And if you've ever had it, it's got a little bit of a pinch. So I've mixed up TK. One, he's never had one before. We're gonna enjoy this together. So we're gonna toast to a Happy New Year. We're gonna drink our Bragg's apple cider vinegar, and we're gonna send it back to you guys. Bottoms up.
Bottoms up. Cheers.
Boy, them guys have a good time.
I'll stick to my coffee, Ken. How about you?
Me too. Oh boy.
All right, guys, great stuff, and thanks for that. And that will wrap things up for us here this morning. Do want to say special thanks to our guest, Coach Carla Siegel, for joining us on the show. Ken and I and the crew will all be back again next week, same time, same place. Until then, have a good day, everyone.
Hanging at the fish report. 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 For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the Fish Report, hanging at the Fish Report, hanging